Well, as we've been reading, and some of you might say slogging our way through the book of First Kings, hearing about one unfaithful, disobedient, idolatrous king after another, we finally get to hear a little bit about faith in the face of all this terribleness, and that comes in the form of the prophet Elijah. And our verse for the day, and a chapter I strongly encourage you to read, is 1 Kings chapter 18, which is about the contest on Mount Carmel between the prophet Elijah and the prophets of Baal. And there's so many things in this chapter that I love to talk about and to highlight. Our verse for the day that I want to share is verse 21, where Elijah then came near to all the people and said, "How long will you go limping with two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him." The people did not answer him a word. Oh! So, if you can picture the scene, here we are in Mount Carmel. Think about, like, you could have a football announcer describing this like a contest, right? And you've got Elijah there all by himself. And then you have these hundreds of prophets of Baal. And the idea is going to be, hey, Elijah says, you call on your God, I'll call on my God. And whichever God answers with fire from heaven, that is truly God. And so the prophets of Baal, they go on from morning to noon. They're crying out, "Oh, Baal, answer us." They're going through all kinds of things. And you may not have realized there's trash talking in the Bible, but there is. And Elijah in 1 Kings 18 starts mocking them, saying, "Cry aloud, surely he is a God. Either he is meditating, or maybe he's wandered away or on a journey, or perhaps he is asleep and must be awakened." So you have Elijah taunting the prophets of Baal, and they cry aloud, and they even cut themselves until the blood gushed out over them. And at midday, they went on, and it says there was no voice, no answer, no response. And then it's Elijah's turn. And first he repairs the altar of the Lord, and he arranges the 12 stones, one representing each of the tribes of Israel, and he cuts the bull, if you will, and arranges the sacrifice. And just to make it harder, he digs a trench and pours water on it. And then he prays for the fire to fall from heaven. And it does. And the people are amazed. And part of what I always take from this story is, first of all, so often people think that God wants us to worship God. And yes, that's true. But what God wants more than our worship is us to follow, for us to be obedient. And that's what Elijah says. If the Lord is God, follow him. He doesn't say worship him. Follow him. And then also note that Elijah does everything that's in his power to do, that he knows to do, to worship God. He builds the altar. He arranges the wood. He places the sacrifice. But when you've done all you can do in whatever situation you're facing, then you also pray and ask for God's power to fall from on high. Honestly, that's how I prepare my sermons every week. I try to do everything that's in my power that I know how to do to try to prepare a good message. But then I pray, God, would your power fall from on high? If you're facing a situation this week, do all that you can, all you know to do and have the power to do, and pray for God to manifest himself with power and might.